It's 2:47 in the morning. A single mother hears glass shatter downstairs. Her phone is charging in the kitchen, right where the sound came from. She has two kids asleep down the hall, no way to call for help, and footsteps are already on the stairs. What happens in the next 90 seconds will change 3 lives forever. Stick around, because tonight we've got 3 stories of everyday people who refuse to be victims. If you carry, if you keep a firearm for home defense, or if you're just thinking about it, these stories are for you. Hit subscribe so you never miss one. Let's go back to that house. Dana was 34, a nurse working 3/12s a week, raising a 9-year-old and a 6-year-old on her own in a quiet suburb outside Memphis. Quiet until that night. The glass that shattered was the back door pane. 2 men. One had been watching the house for a week. He knew her schedule. What he didn't know was that after her divorce, Dana had taken a handgun course, bought a 9mm pistol, and kept it in a quick-access safe bolted inside her closet. When she heard the glass, she didn't freeze. Her training kicked in. She moved to the closet, punched in the code by feel in the dark, and took a position at the top of the stairs. The one choke point in the whole house. Anyone coming for her kids had to come through her. She yelled the words her instructor drilled into her. "I'm armed. The police are coming. Leave." The first man kept climbing. Maybe he didn't believe her. Maybe he thought a woman alone wouldn't pull the trigger. He came around the landing with the crowbar raised. Dana fired twice. The second man was out the broken door before his partner hit the floor. Neighbors heard the shots and called 911. Police arrived in 6 minutes. The intruder survived and was charged with aggravated burglary. Dana was never charged. Investigators ruled it a textbook lawful defense of home and family. Here's the lesson. Dana won that fight a year earlier when she took the class, bought the safe, and made a plan. The choke point, the verbal warning, the decision to stand her ground instead of chasing. None of that was luck. Drop a comment. Do you have a designated defensive position in your home? Most people have never thought about it. Story number 2 takes us to a grocery store parking lot in Phoenix, 9:30 on a Tuesday night. Marcus, 61, retired diesel mechanic, was loading groceries into his truck when a sedan rolled up slow behind him and stopped. 2 men got out. One walked straight at him. The other circled toward the driver's door. That's a pincer. That's not how people ask for directions. Marcus had carried concealed for over 20 years and never once drawn his firearm. But he'd also spent 20 years practicing one skill people ignore: awareness. He'd clocked that sedan circling the lot before he ever pushed his cart outside. So when the doors opened, he was already moving, putting the truck bed between himself and the closer man. "Keys, old man." The closer one lifted his shirt to show a pistol in his waistband. And that detail matters. The moment a weapon is displayed in a robbery, the threat is deadly. Marcus stepped back, drew from concealment, and brought his weapon up to a ready position. He never even had to aim center mass. The reaction was instant. The man, reaching for his waistband, threw both hands up and backpedaled into his partner. They were back in the sedan and gone in under 10 seconds. Marcus got the plate, called 911, and gave a statement. The pair were arrested 2 weeks later, linked to 4 other armed carjackings in the same county. 4 other carjackings. Marcus was the only target who was armed, and the only one who walked away with his truck, his wallet, and his health. And notice, not a single shot fired. The overwhelming majority of defensive gun uses end exactly like this. The threat sees they picked the wrong person, and the encounter is over. The gun you hope you never fire can still save your life. Our last story comes from a family-owned gas station in rural Ohio, 15 minutes before closing. Elena, 26, was working the register alone, her father's store, her shift, like 1,000 nights before. A man in a hoodie had been pretending to browse the chip aisle for 10 minutes. No basket, no phone, just waiting for the last customer to leave. When the door chimed shut, he moved fast, knife out, around the counter, screaming for the register and the safe. Not across the counter, around it, within arm's reach, with a blade. Elena's father had insisted on 2 things when she started working nights: a concealed carry permit and a rule. Money is replaceable, you are not. Give up the cash. The gun is for when cash isn't what they want. She popped the register and stepped back, hands visible, exactly like she was taught. He took the money. And then he didn't leave. He grabbed her wrist and started dragging her toward the back room. That's the line. That's when a robbery becomes something much worse, and every self-defense instructor will tell you, never let them move you to a second location. Elena dropped her weight, twisted her wrist against his thumb, the weak point of any grip, broke free, and drew from her holster. He lunged with the knife. She fired 1 round, striking him in the shoulder from less than 6 feet. He dropped the knife. She backed to the door, kept her weapon on him, and called 911. He was treated, charged with aggravated robbery and kidnapping, and took a plea deal for 12 years. The county prosecutor declined to bring any charges against Elena. Her father installed a second camera the next week, and never let her forget she did everything right. The takeaway: compliance is a tool, not a guarantee. Elena gave up the money, the right call, but when he escalated, she had the means and the mindset to stop the threat. 3 stories, 3 ordinary people. One common thread: they prepared before the worst night of their lives. Training, awareness, a plan, and the will to act. If these stories hit home, do 3 things right now. Like the video, subscribe, and ring the bell, and tell me in the comments. Which of these 3 situations do you think about most? Your story might be featured in a future episode. Stay alert. Stay trained. Stay safe. See you in the next one.